Hi, Lisa. My name is Joanne. I'm on Instagram at traveladventure_kids. And I just wanted to tell you that what inspires me is my desire to travel and see the world and to show my kids the world and to have their minds be open to all the greatness that's out there on the planet. I love your show, and thanks for inspiring me.
Live from Los Angeles, California, this is the Lisa Murray Show, and with your host, Lisa Murray.
The day I felt like I really started living.
I don't have enough money to start this business.
I'm so tired. I hate it. I'm working all the time.
I'm not inspired when I'm worried about money.
Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all.
I'm so sick of all these positive people talking about dreams. What about money? Like, how am I supposed to get the money?
What it's really about, it's about you pursuing what makes you come alive. It's about continually connecting with that energy and just keep doing that. Keep going towards that. That's what it's about. I need to give up. There's too many obstacles. I can't take this shit anymore. Ships are safe in the harbor, but that's not what ships are built for.
It feels really good to be my own boss.
I have dreams, damn it! Welcome back to I Have Dreams Dammit, the podcast about the realities of pursuing our dreams. And today is the inspiration episode. And I asked listeners in last week's show to submit what inspires them, what keeps them going. I got some very interesting responses. Some are recorded and some are written. So I will weave those into today's show. And I hope you get something from something, because I know I did. I always love hearing from a variety of people because I'm like, oh yeah, and I kind of get a little bit of something from everybody. This week, I have a bonus audio release. It is the inspiration visualization. It's like a guided 5-minute closed eye meditation that I created just for you, just for my listeners. And if you guys like it, I'll do more. It was something I wanted to do all along from the time I started the podcast, even before. I've always wanted to do guided, meditation, guided visualization, because it really has always helped me. And I always wanted to share with others. That's the whole thing I do, is every time I find something that works for me, I try to share that with other people. So it's just a 5-minute audio that, make sure you're not driving when you listen to it, but be a nice thing to put on before you go to bed, or if you just need to relax, you need to close your eyes for a few minutes, go ahead and put that on. If you enjoy it, I'd love to hear from you, because, I'd love to do more if you guys are liking it. So in the intro, you heard Joanne, and Joanne, I just want to say thank you so much for your audio message. Thank you for enjoying the show. That means a lot to me. That actually inspires me to hear that. So thank you. And I love that. I love that travel is your focus, and that you really want to expose your children to more travel. I think that's great. And I know I look back on even the weird trips my dad brought us on to, like the state parks or whatever. I have such good memories, and those memories I cling to now that my brother's gone. Because we used to have a lot of fun together, and on this, my dad would like rent a motorhome, and we'd all be stuffed together and fighting and laughing, and it's just typical family stuff, and I'm really grateful for that. But also, I think just travel is really good for obvious reasons, like expanding our mind, getting us out of our own small world of our tiny little culture. It's not good to stay in the same place, and that's like your only reality, You can follow Joanne on her Instagram at traveladventure_kids on Instagram. And I'm going to have everybody's links and all the links to everything that I talk about in the show notes. If you haven't checked out the show notes, why not? People put work into these things, man. No, I'm just kidding. It's just me. But if you go to ihavedreamsdammit.com, and on the menu on the right, there's episodes. And if you pick whichever episode resonated with you, there will be links and just a little bit more information from whatever it was that I talked about in that show. So just a little tidbit for you. I might include a contest coming up soon about if people have seen the show notes, because I want to get people over there. And you can also sign up for an email list. Yes, you can on that website. You can join the private Facebook group. I still have Dreams Dammit, actually. That's what that one is. And the audio clips are there. If you listen to the show on iTunes, you can leave a review. There's a there's a link there to leave a review. I would really appreciate if you leave a review. That would inspire me. And then there's a SoundCloud link, and I think there's Stitcher and some other places where people can listen to the show. So there you go. But road trips for me, to go back to what Joanne was talking about with travel, road trips for me are really a big thing that I do to sort of clear my mind. And I often go from LA to Scottsdale to visit my mom and my family. And I prefer to drive. I do fly sometimes, but I usually try to drive because either I can bring my dogs or I catch up on podcasts, literally, or audiobooks. And for me, it always feels like my road trips are like a loofah for my brain. It just sort of scours away the crud that builds up in daily life in my area, wherever I'm living. It just sort of builds up. And when I drive, within an hour, once I'm out of the city and I'm just kind of on the road, I feel so free and I can see everything so clearly in my life. And sometimes I don't listen to audiobooks or podcasts because I really just like the silence. Or I listen to music. And whatever, I kind of just listen to my intuition. I don't shove a scenario, a to-do list down my throat. I just kind of go, what do I feel like doing? And I follow that feeling, and I'm always refreshed after the trip. And sometimes the trip's a little long and crazy, but in general, I'm always refreshed after a road trip. So that's one thing I love to do. And then I don't do enough travel, though. In general, I don't do travel just for joy, just to travel. And I am planning a trip to Italy in the fall, and I'm very excited about it. And it's been a long time coming. I was born in Geneva, Switzerland, and I haven't been back there. And I would like to go back in the fall and just check out some things, because I always had these like reoccurring dreams of a certain thing. And my dad said that it sounds like places in Geneva that they took me. So I'm interested in checking that out. And then, but mostly we'll be spending time in Italy. But I was in Paris for a month. It was like a month-long filmmaking intensive through the New York Film Academy. I had a really good time. That was really fun. And I mentioned it a little bit in my episode with Tracy Adelaide of the Valley Film Festival. I think that's episode number 3. But it was a really good experience. And, I took French in high school. I took French in college. I was born in Geneva, so my sister spoke a little bit of French. We called my grandparents grand-mère and grand-père, so there's always kind of French around me. But it wasn't until I went to Paris for a month and lived there that when I had to actually speak the language, then I was like, oh my God. And it was like a whole different thing. And I think you need to do that. And I think that people not only should travel when they're young, but they should also just travel periodically throughout life and really, be observant of other cultures. Don't bring your ways, sometimes I see that where people travel and then they bring who they are 100% to the next place. And I could see that they're not fully open to, wow, I'm in another place. So try to be open, try to leave some of your normal routines back home, and try to do something different. One more thing about travel. A couple people mentioned travel as what inspires them. And Jerry from La Brigada Winery, my good friend Jerry, he said, what inspires me these days is working out and being in shape and travel. He loves to travel. And I can always tell when he hasn't traveled enough because he gets really like disillusioned by life. And also when he's hot, like, because where he lives, it gets very hot in the summer. And I was just like, you should just plan on going out of town every July or August, because you already know you're going to be miserable. So you might as well go and do something you absolutely love and go somewhere that's cooler. So he's been trying to do that, and I think that's made a bit of a difference.
My name is Tracy Adelaide, and I am the founder and director of the Valley Film Festival in Los Angeles. We are celebrating 19 years. Hooray! And there are several things that inspire me personally to keep on trucking with the festival. So a hashtag, a motto / hashtag that we have been using with the festival for the last 3 years is United by Film. And that is because we have seen stories come in from all over the world. And when I mean all over the world, I mean all over the world. From refugee camps, and from, rural farms in Africa, and just the deserts of the Sahara with nothing around. But these stories all have something in common. They all have a character or a theme or something that we can all relate to. And, it wouldn't matter if I lived in Korea or if I lived in Bel Air. These stories connect us, and it's just wonderful to see. Another thing that inspires me and keeps me going with the festival is when I discover a story that, or discover a film that's able to tell the same story the 10 other films before it could, but in a very different way. And those are exciting as well. So that's nice. And finally, not finally, but another thing that inspires me with the festival is when a filmmaker thanks us for screening their film or for welcoming them into our community. And it's very validating. And also, we get all sorts of stories. We get the local filmmaker who's been following us and finally had something, and they were just so excited to be part of us, to the filmmakers in different countries whose film and works are banned there, and they needed an outlet for their voice, to filmmakers who had a few months to live, and this was one of their dreams. So we've seen it all, and it's nice that we are part of a community. So if you would like to join the VFF family and follow us, you can find us on all social media outlets at Valley Film Fest. Now, personally, what inspires me and what keeps me going when I am at the lowest points, which is more often than not, is that, when I'm walking down the street, and yes, we do walk in LA, or if I'm just hanging out somewhere, I really get turned on to life by thinking about the barriers and the obstacles little palm trees face as they are coming up through the cracks in the pavement. I know, so cheesy. But it really, I sit there and I look at these things and I'm like, man, they were covered up with gravel, covered up with tar, and they did not have access to water. They did not have access to sunlight. And somehow, some way, these little life forms, these palm trees, have managed to overcome obstacles and defy the odds, and are pushing their way into the sunlight, into shine. And, when I think about my troubles or the obstacles I need to overcome and, the inspiration that I need, I definitely think to these palm trees coming up from the cracks in the pavement. And palm trees just happen to be abundant here in LA, but I'm sure wherever you are in the world, there is something similar, a flower, a tree of any kind, any greenery, any life form. Just think about, the time it took for it to come up. And I think that's it for me for tonight. But if you would like to follow me on any social network, you can find me at Tracy Adlai, and that's TracyAdlai. Thanks.
Do you love going to farm stands and buying fresh from the farm produce? Do you have to pull over on road trips to pet a cow? No? Okay, maybe that last part's just me. Regardless, we can all agree on our love for all things agriculture. And how about art? Don't you love watching films about artists? Painters, singers, dancers, musicians. Coming in September is the Ag and Art Film Festival in Vacaville, California. And they are open for entries. So if you have a film, a narrative, a documentary, a short, or a feature, if you're a student or if you're a pro, this is your chance to show your film to the world. And by the world, I mean Vacaville, California. But still, it's going to be awesome. Visit agandartfilmfestival.com for more information, and you can submit your film exclusively on filmfreeway.com. So, what is inspiration, and why is it so important? Why did I dedicate an entire show to it? Well, the dictionary says that inspiration is the process of being mentally stimulated to do or feel something, especially to do something creative. What or who inspires you to live a productive life? Is your source of inspiration a person, place, or thing? Whether you're inspired by another individual or something within your own person, inspiration is the motivator within life. Inspiration is the catalyst for prodding you forward. I see it as, life is a journey, and inspiration's like a canteen full of cool water on that long trip through the hot desert of life. Inspiration helps us keep going. And also, it's not just like that blast of like, okay, good, I have this inspiration. It's the cornerstone of a dream. It's like it goes hand in hand. It's the number one thing. It's basically, you could replace the word every time I say dream and put the word inspiration in there. It's very important to the whole process. And as an artist, it's very, very important because it's how you're sharing something with others. It's coming from that energy. For me, inspiration, okay, this is really weird. I like everything's a metaphor with me. So I just pictured something, and it's a very strange metaphor. So just walk with me on this one. So I've had an ultrasound before for my ovaries. I told you it was weird. So just, you're like, oh my God, this is the weirdest one yet. I know. Listen, I had to have an ultrasound for my ovaries. And for women out there that have had to have ultrasound on your ovaries, you know that you have to have your bladder full, which is the first time I heard it, I was like, what? Why? So you have to drink a bunch of water and you have to have your bladder completely full because somehow the way that the sonic thing works, it needs your bladder to be full, which is actually right in front of your ovary because it works like a glass, like it just makes it so that the ovary becomes clear, right? I don't know what all this is about. But the point is, for me, inspiration is sort of like that full bladder. This is probably going to not make it the final, but maybe it will. And it makes my direction of what I'm supposed to do in life, like it kind of makes my compass, my inner compass, become very clear. Because when you're inspired, you're so clear. You are so clear about what you need to do, and you feel so good. It's such a great feeling. And I actually took being inspired in that good way for granted because I was always inspired when I was younger. I was always inspired. And I love that feeling. And I almost like only wanted to act when I was inspired. And part of the reason why I wanted to start this podcast was I wanted to give you, the listener, tools for if you're not inspired. Because I hit that. I hit the point where I wasn't inspired and I didn't know what to do. And it was like kind of like the only tool I had in my toolbox. So I kind of freaked out a little bit like, oh my God, what am I supposed to do now? So then through that, I learned, like after Derek and Michael's deaths, I was not inspired, to not even really live, let alone do a dream or do a career. So I learned other things, other skills. And there were other times in my life where I wasn't inspired, but it wasn't as deep and almost completely devastating as losing Derek and Michael was. But, being able to act without inspiration is also very important. You need to keep moving forward. And that's kind of what I talk about in other shows. But this one is all about how do you keep the gas tank full? How do you keep yourself going just on the regular? Like without any massive catastrophes happening, what keeps you going? And then what even got you going in the first place? What's something that really inspires you? That's always been something I'm really drawn to, and I really love it.
Hey Lisa, it's Nicole from the Stop Writing Alone podcast, and I'm just calling in to respond to your question on how we stay inspired. The irony is that you're asking me at a time where I'm really struggling to figure out what to record for this week, but I do have a couple of things that I tap into when this happens. One is that I make sure that my writing group is not the only one that I am a part of, so I'm always cycling through all the different online writing groups that I'm a member of, not just the one that I run, and just see what the conversations are, what people are asking about, and what's going on. And the other thing that I feel like really blessed for is I've been doing this about 14 weeks now, and just about every week I hear from at least one person that has listened to my podcast, and every time I think, like, what am I doing this for? I hear from that person, and I'm like, wow, there's one more person that got something from whatever it was that I did, whether it be this week or in an earlier podcast, and that's enough. So that's pretty much it. Nothing too big. Yeah, I do journal. Yes, I love taking walks in nature. Those are just like general inspiration things. But when it comes to like the specifics for the podcasting, I'd have to say that those are the two things. One is connecting with all the other communities and just feeding off of what I'm getting from the people who have been listening so far to Stop Writing Alone. But thanks for asking, and I love your podcast, so keep on going, and if you need inspiration from us, just let us know. Bye-bye.
Hello, Dinah Gigi here. My dream is that my podcast, Find Your Glee with Dinah G, impacts listeners to live their best lives, and in return promotes change and growth that spreads throughout. And what keeps me inspired? People who give me permission to be fearless, to take action, who make me feel comfortable being myself, and who remind me that I'm not alone. There's so much power in community and lifting each other up. Thank you.
There is a kind of food not taken through the mouth. The body and the human personality form a cup. Every time you meet someone, something is poured in. Rumi. Another place the inspiration comes from is from others and from a sense of community. So as I mentioned many times before, I listen to podcasts, and I stumbled upon Kathy Heller's Don't Keep Your Day Job podcast. And you have to check this out because her energy, she's so authentic, and she's so authentic with her caring about people. And I think that comes from, and she talks about this very openly on her podcast, but with growing up with her mother. And her mother suffered from depression and different things. And I know that as well. My mom also had depression when I was younger. And it sort of makes you feel like, maybe we had our own thing going on before we were even, like if we even had a different family. But I always wanted to help my mom. I always wanted to help her not be depressed. And it made me think about all the things in life that were good or ways that I could not get depressed. And I get depressed as an adult. I got depressed as a teenager. I got depressed. It wasn't like I was able to completely avoid it, but I think it bent my view to look at the world, to try to see the good. And I see that in Kathy Heller. I see that she does that. She really, really wants people to know that they're valuable and that their dreams are important. What they want to do is really important. And what I mostly get from Kathy Heller is that it doesn't have to be perfect. And I just love her so much. And then she started Everybody Can Podcast. She had a course that was available. I think it's closed now, but it was a course. And I was like, I have to take this course because I want to learn from her. And so I did. And part of the course was lots of one-on-one and lots of conference stuff online and everything. It was great. Lots of information, lots of tools. But what was really incredible, which continues to this day, is this community of other people who are also starting podcasts. And we're all in this group on Facebook. It's like a private Facebook group for people who signed up for the Everybody Can Podcast. And I love going there because I can ask any question to this group and everybody has ideas, things that they've come across. And so we've all formed this really tight community, and I just really love those people. And some people are more active, and I love them for being active in there. And some people are more kind of every now and then they pop in. I try to be active, but I'm not. I do it in spurts because of my crazy schedule. But I'm getting ready to binge listen to all my peeps podcasts so I can catch up on what everybody's going through. And anyways, it's very inspiring. And so I really recommend you check out Kathy Heller. Don't Keep Your Day Job. That's her podcast. She has website is don'tkeepyourdayjob.com. She has a Facebook group that's open to everybody. Don't Keep Your Day Job. It's a Facebook community, which is also extremely supportive. Artists, entrepreneurs, everybody. It's amazing because Kathy's genuine love in her heart, it goes out and people, it sort of seems to draw similar like-minded people like that into her groups. So it's really neat. Be sure to check that out. And she also has a book coming out in the fall, Don't Keep Your Day Job. So make sure you can go pre-order it right now on Amazon. I pre-ordered it. I love her. She's positive. She's intelligent. She's actually a singer-songwriter. She was signed to Interscope Records. And so I relate to that also because of my work in the music industry with Dapo. And so it's really like, I just know it's a matter of time before I meet her because we know a lot of the same people. And I just love her and I love her work. I love what she's doing. And I highly recommend her podcast. And so some of the people from the group you're going to hear from in this podcast today, because I did ask, hey, you guys, does anybody want to share what inspires them in the group? So that sense of community is really important. And I have a tendency to be very alone. And I kind of like that. I like being alone. I really do. And I spend a lot of time alone. And I love to journal. I love to just be in nature. I love gardening. I absolutely really love being alone. And I know a lot of people don't know that about me, that know me in my social mode. And they're probably like, what? I do. And then the people that know me in my alone world are like always probably surprised when they see me being really social. They're like, oh, wow, you're like really talkative and outgoing. And I'm like, yep, like I totally have this like all or nothing vibe on that whole thing. So anyways, love the community though, because I need that. And we all need that. We're social beings. We need that sense of community. So if you're feeling like you're kind of down in the dumps with inspiration, or you keep trying to pull yourself up for something, look for a group. Nowadays with the internet, there's so many groups. There's so many, now there's like meetups. If you would rather meet in person, there's meetups. I think it's meetup.com. There's groups on Facebook that you can join. You can find one that is almost exactly what you're looking for. Like women with square glasses who like to needlepoint. You will find that group. I promise you it exists somewhere. And if you know what else? If it doesn't exist, you can create it, which is like really awesome. So you're going to create that and hit that experience for somebody else. Another podcast that is like the two main podcasts that I listen to is Don't Keep Your Day Job, Kathy Heller. And you've heard me say this before, and I post about it on Facebook all the time. Drum roll. Creative Pep Talk with Andy J. Pizza. I can't even begin to tell you how much he's like one of my favorite people to listen to in the world because he's quirky and weird, which, as you can see from my personality, I love. And he's very artistic. He speaks like artist language, which I love. His guests are really quirky and weird and speak artist language. So it turns out I fully relate to illustrators. I think those are my people. That's what I found out. Like, illustrators are my peeps. I don't know what it is. Maybe because I like metaphors and I like silliness, but I also like depth. I like symbols, like with the hero's journey and how certain symbols throughout all cultures mean certain things. And like, I don't know, I think illustrators kind of take from all that. It seems like it. But anyways, so Andy J. Pizza, if you are an artist, I highly recommend his Creative Pep Talk podcast. It's very, very good. And he's got an Etsy store. He's got a website. He's got a really cool Instagram. I like following him on Instagram. I like when he posts stories. He has a couple videos on his YouTube channel. I think he should do videos like once or twice a week because I think he's amazing. He's visually cool looking. Like you want to like watch him talk because he's just goofy. He's like a character. He's interesting. I don't know how to describe him. He's really interesting. So just check him out. And remember when he blows up, remember who told you to go there? Me. He's already has a huge following, but I mean, I think he's going to blow up even bigger. So just remember Lisa said it first. Okay. Okay. And remember, all these links are going to be on the show notes on IHaveDreamsDammit.com. So if you're like, wait, what'd you say? What did I? All the links to all the podcasts, audiobooks, and everything else will be on the show notes on IHaveDreamsDammit.com. So you can just check it out over there. An audiobook that really spoke to me, and I have a feeling it might speak to you. If you're a listener of this podcast, you probably like people who sort of talk a certain way and have a certain vibe. And I sort of feel a kinship to Jen Sincero. Wait, how do you say her name? Jen Sincero. I'm not sure if I'm saying her last name right. I don't know why all of a sudden I didn't get that prepared. But she wrote, "You're a Badass. How to Stop Doubting Your Greatness and Start Living an Awesome Life." Get the audiobook. She narrates it. It is very, very good. It's like your best friend telling you like you're awesome, stop being stupid. Like that's what it is. Like, but it's like not condescending or mean. It's like with total love. It's amazing and I love it. And then she has another one about money, and I forgot to pull the title of the book, so sorry about that. But Jen Sincero, very good. Get her audiobooks and listen to her, because I think I also bought the physical book because I wanted to be able to underline stuff and look at it. So I actually have both. That's how much I really, really got from that. So I really highly recommend that. So in terms of like getting inspiration from others, there's so many more people that I know I'm not listing here. This isn't the complete list, but these were the 3 people I really wanted to tell you about. Kathy Heller, Don't Keep Your Day Job, Andy J. Pizza with Creative Pep Talk, and Jen Sincero with You're a Badass. So check out those things, those 3 people, and get a little shot of inspiration in your arm or your ear or your, ears, both ears, not just one ear. Unless you have one like pod that's not working. Don't you hate that? And only one of them works. Anyways, I digress.
My name is Catherine Roberts, entrepreneur and side hustle mindset coach at Quest for $47. I teach young women how to build passive income earning side hustles so they can live fuller, more abundant lives without having to be wholly dependent on their often insufficient corporate salaries. I'm all about doing what you want, when you want, and living life on your own terms. What keeps me motivated every single day is knowing that I get to be that person who gives my audience permission to do what they want, even if it's not what society considers to be normal. Waking up every day knowing that I have the opportunity to change someone's life is one of my favorite things, and it keeps me going even when things are difficult or I don't know what to do next.
When I'm really messed up, like really, really depressed, helping others, whether it's a person or an animal, absolutely takes me out of my own depression instantly. So when you're feeling like you're in a funk, help the people around you. I mean, you can offer to take care of their yard or wash their animals or buy them lunch. Do something for someone else, and I promise you'll forget your own problems. Volunteer somewhere. Do something. Even if it's like your best friend, just do something weird. I don't even know what. Like, offer to do their dishes or just go over there and do their dishes. I don't know what it is, but just do something. And I'm telling you, the minute we take the focus off of ourselves, you instantly feel better. That happens to me every time.
Hi, my name is Dawn Kincaid, and my dear friend Lisa has asked me what inspires me. I have several things that inspire me. Freedom inspires me. And when I say freedom, I mean the freedom to move in my creativity however I feel led to move. Creation, being out in nature and being amongst the birds and the trees and the flowers and the stars and the moon. And another thing that inspires me would be my kids, my sons. In November of 2016, my oldest son, Evan, was killed in an automobile accident. And that has really changed the course of how I see my creativity. At the time of his untimely death, I had just started a photography business, which he helped me launch my website and gave me inspiration for words to write. Since that time, I have used my grief and loss to write blogs and use photography as a way to express my feelings and my sadness and my grief, and to help others find their voice in grief. Grief is a difficult subject because it makes people uncomfortable. Actually, Lisa and I got to know each other quite well as she was so welcoming and open about talking about her grief. So that gave me permission to share my grief. And she has really helped me so much to see that not everyone is frightened by loss and sadness. There's a lot that her and I have in common. But those are the things that inspire me. I was stifled for a bit. I was in a situation that wasn't giving me the creative space that I needed to express myself with the written word, and even in my photography, it was difficult for me. But I have since moved out of that situation and have been able to get back to writing. I've written 2 blogs in less than a week's time and have been able to find photography just driving around here in Vacaville. And even down south, I went to pick up my youngest son, Alex, who also, I want to say, inspires me, as he currently is on the Pacific Crest Trail. And he is raising money for Donate for Life, which our son Evan, who is our oldest son, who passed away in the auto accident, he was an organ donor, and all of his organs were donated to recipients who we have heard from, all of them. But that's probably a whole nother podcast in and of itself, is just talking about the organ donation and how that affects families on both ends. I can only speak to the end that I was on, and that was someone has to die for someone to get an organ. And my son was one of those people who gave his life, and that's a really sweet story. But my youngest son, Alex, is on the Pacific Crest Trail raising money for Donate for Life, and I'm really proud of him, how he's walked this out. It's really hard to watch your child struggle with losing a brother or a sister. So this part of my journey has been very, very hard. But I'm really proud of him, and he inspires me to be my best. So I hope that answers the question about inspiration. And I so appreciate you, Lisa, and all that you do. You're an amazing woman, and I so appreciate you. And again, my name is Dawn Kincaid, and these are the things that inspire me.
Thank you so much, Dawn. I really appreciate you sharing your heart with me and with my listeners. You are helping someone by just sharing your journey. And I'm really glad that our paths crossed. I feel a kinship to people who have lost someone tragically. You know, like when it's not... Losing someone, regardless of what their age or circumstances are, is always painful, especially if you love them and they're an important person in your life. But when it's someone that's kind of like before their time, especially a mother who loses a child. I haven't lost a child, but losing my brother and losing Derek was very profound in my life. That loss, I can see it in other people. When they start, I can just, and I think that's what happened when I met Dawn. I was just kind of like, what's going on? And then she told me about her son, and I immediately was drawn to her, and I just wanted to talk to her, and more so, I wanted to listen to her, because I felt like I know what it's like. Because when Derek and Michael died, first when Derek died, nobody wanted to really talk to me about it. They would just say, oh, I'll pray for you, or I'm so sorry for your loss. But no one really wanted to like talk about it. I needed to talk about it. I needed to figure it all out. I needed to like just freak out about it, or just all of it, you know, just like anything. Like if a car almost hits you in the parking lot at Whole Foods, you tell someone, right? Well, when you lose someone, you want to talk about the whole craziness of it, and you want to talk about it a lot in a lot of different ways. And it's actually healthy that you want to talk and that you're not shutting down. So I try to encourage people to talk about it as much as possible. I don't tell them, you know, it all happens for a reason, even though that's what I believe now. I hated hearing that at the time, and there's just a time and a place for certain advice or feedback. People who have lost someone don't need to hear any of that stuff. So just listen and just feel their pain and love them. That's what they need. They just need you to know, you know, they need to know that they're not alone. So during that time, I scoured the internet and I looked for videos of people talking about experiences of losing someone that they loved, and listening to people talking about death and about losing someone was the only thing that really started to heal me. That and time started to heal me. But like really just listening to people talking about their experiences with losing someone, that really helped me a lot. And I became drawn to it like immensely. And also I became really drawn to listening to people talk about near-death experiences, which I've mentioned before on this podcast. But people mentioning like, you know, what happened when they were clinically proven dead, like what happened to them when they left their body and, you know, then they came back. It always sounds very peaceful and reassuring to me. So that was very helpful to me as well. And, you know, the pain of losing Derek and Michael has inspired me to stay real. I think I had a tendency to get fake sometimes, like to kind of do what I have to do, just have small talk with people or, you know, just play a part, play a role. Like if I worked in an office, I tried to kind of, oh, I am a person that works in this office. But losing Michael and Derek kind of changed all that. I am me. I am here. I'm not going to like, you know, swing a fire stick around and be screaming or anything. I mean, I don't know why I just said that. But like, I'm not trying to stand out for just the reason of standing out. If I happen to stand out, it's going to be because I'm being myself. And that's okay. And that's really important to me. It's also important to me to be present, to make every day count. These are all like completely corny, but they're real. And you know what? When my dogs come up to me now, I would say 9 times out of 10, I'll put my phone down to pet them. Like, even if I pet them the last 20 minutes, if they come up to me again, I put my phone down and I pet them. And I know it sounds strange, but I give my full attention to people and to my animals. I give my full attention now. And I didn't always do that before. I was always kind of like thinking of other things or whatever. I try to clear everything else away and look people right in the eyes. And I tell myself, this moment right now is happening. This moment is real. This person is talking to me. This moment it's a space that's created where we exist in this space. And I'm here and they're here. And then what comes from that I do that. And that really helps me become very present. I know that I can be gone or they can be gone in a moment, and I don't want to waste a single moment connecting with them. It's also given me tremendous courage to live from my heart and to be vulnerable more than ever before. I live with my eyes wide open, and, you know, I just really live alive. Like, I really try to be alive. And I also know that death is part of our nature. We're all going to die. And instead of being afraid of it, I am afraid of it sometimes, but I try not to be in like total fear of it. And I try to just walk with my arms around it. Like, yeah, okay, so I'm going to die. But what can I do with that knowledge now that I'm here and I'm alive? Like, it gives you a little bit more courage. It does. Why am I talking about this? Because it inspires you. When you lose someone that you love, it either just fully destroys you or it kind of inspires you to live more for them. And to also live more for yourself because you know of your own mortality even more. And you want to be more present. You want to be more alive. And you want to be more just present. Another thing that really inspired me was after-death communication. And I will get into more of this on a separate show. But absolutely, there was communication from Derek. There were visitations in my dreams. I found things I couldn't find for years prior. There were a lot of weird things that happened. And like my brother leaves us pennies, me and my mom pennies. And I used to think that was just a song, like pennies from heaven, you know. But it's a real thing. Like research it. Look it up on the internet. People have coins appear in weird places where there were no coins before. And what I do when I find a penny is I look up the year and I think about what message may be connected to that. And even if it's my imagination, it still helps me and inspires me to keep going. It inspires me and to believe in magic, to believe in more than just this life, and to believe that this person that I love so very, very much is still alive and they're still communicating with me. And that inspires me to keep going. And if it's an illusion, then let it be an illusion. Because who cares? Everything else is an illusion anyways, right? But guess what? It also might be true. We need the tonic of wildness. We can never have enough of nature. Henry David Thoreau. Gardening is very healing for me. I just helped a friend get her garden ready for open house. And the reason why I wanted to do this at this particular time, because as you know, I had all this rain here, and then all my jobs were backlogged. And then once the sun came out, all the jobs were like, okay, let's go. And it was like there's only so much I can do creatively. I was like, and it was like being pulled from the same place in me. And then it was all this technical stuff in my computer. And when I got this opportunity to just work in the garden, weeding and planting things, I jumped at it because I needed that. I could feel like I was so out of balance. And just being there for 10 days or whatever it was, totally neutralized that energy. It totally did. Nature is so important. Whether I'm gardening, I'm out in nature, I'm spending time with animals. I like walking, on the beach or in trees when you go to a redwood forest or something like that. Or just even in the desert, growing up in the desert, riding my bike around or my horse, my sister's horse, all that kind of stuff was always like a big reset button for me. And I know it is for all of us because that's our true home is nature. We built all these things so that we could kind of have this, that, and the other kind of comfort. But really, all that electricity and all that stuff, that's not really us. The energy that is what we are is the same stuff that's in the trees and in the soils and in the mountains and in the sky and in the ocean. And that's why we almost need to be in nature to recalibrate ourselves to our essence, to our truths. I definitely think variety and balance are big helpers in staying inspired. Like for me, I need variety. Part of the reason I don't like office jobs and set schedules is because of the monotony. It freaks me out. It does the opposite. The opposite of inspire me. I can't stand it. One of my fellow Kathy Heller Everyone Can Podcast group members, Erica Parker Price from the Ready, Pause, Go podcast writes, "Hi, Lisa. Here's what keeps me both grounded and inspired. I find I am at my best when I do several things each day. Read, write, spend time with friends and family, go outside, and exercise. Ideally, the last two happen together. I am by no means good at making this happen every day, but it's good to at least have a baseline that helps me get back on track." Thank you, Erica. I agree. It is good to get out, exercise, spend time with friends. Yeah, we need that. We need the variety. We need to kind of keep everything moving. And it's important to know what inspires us too. That's really important is to, figure out, and I encourage everybody listening to this right now, write down the things that inspire you. The things that if you can't think of inspirational things, then think of the things you love. Like, what do you love? You're like, I love painting. I love talking to my best friend while we're drinking coffee and we have a candle lit, or whatever. Write down the things that you absolutely love. And you should try to do those things as often as possible because that fills you up. That keeps you going.
My name is David Lewis. I work for a literacy program in Northern California. And my dream job would be something where I would be able to work with the arts. And what inspires me is, with my current job, I see a lot of people working toward their personal and higher professional goals. The simple thing of reading and improving someone's reading enables them to accomplish more things in their lives. So every time one of our students accomplishes something, it inspires me to do better myself. Also, what inspires me in life and as an artist is when I see something beautiful. So beauty inspires me. But I want to be clear about that. It's not beauty in the sense of the perfect, but also beauty in the real condition that we see things in. I think there's a beauty in life and a beauty in acknowledging those simple moments where beauty takes place.
Ed Sweet is a friend of mine from Arizona. He's also included in my I Have Dreams Dammit documentary I've been shooting since 2006. No, earlier than that. But anyways, he and his wife, I interviewed Kim Sweet for the podcast, which will be coming up soon, and their daughter Penelope. I love that whole family. So here is his what he wrote me. My name is Edward Sweet. I'm a singer-songwriter and the frontman of a Phoenix-based indie pop rock band called Electric Soul, spelled S-O-L. Follow Electric Soul Music on Instagram and stream our music on Spotify, Apple Music, etc. You can also check out our website at electricsoulmusic.com. All these links will be in the show notes on the website for the podcast. Okay, back to his letter. The biggest thing that keeps me going is constantly reminding myself that music was my first love. I started singing in front of people when I was 4 years old, including the Star Spangled Banner at Park District events in Chicago, where I grew up. When I was in second grade, I was supposed to do a solo in a school performance, but I got the chicken pox and I couldn't do it. I think that's what started putting fear in me about performing, and shortly after that, I gave it up. But now that love is back, and I remind myself every day that it is my true calling. For me, that's the most powerful motivator. But there are lots of other things that keep me going, and in no particular order. 1, practice consistently. Our band tries to rehearse at least every 2 weeks, and we rehearse every week if we're gearing up for a show. On my own, I try to put in a half hour at the keyboard every day to work on my skills, especially hand independence. 2, set regular goals. We always try to have a show to look forward to so we can practice more and have something to work towards. 3, create community. I love every member of my band, and it's a true joy to spend time together. We try to make dinner part of every rehearsal, and we'll often get together just to hang out. We support each other in other ways too, which ties us closer together. One guy works at a deli, and we often have lunch there when he's working. He also does advertising writing for me when I'm overloaded. Another band member is my daughter's guitar teacher, and another works with me on keyboard playing. We support each other inside and outside the confines of the band, which makes the band just another part of my daily life. That makes it more real for me in some way. 4, challenge yourself to get better. I've decided that I really want to get good at this, and that is really motivating. When I was younger, I was outcome-based for the wrong reasons. Now I'm more process-oriented, and if I can do something every day to get a little better, then it's a good day. The payoff is motivating, too. After shows, people have been telling me that I keep getting better as a singer, and that kind of feedback makes me want to keep working hard. I'm fortunate that I don't need to make money doing this at this moment, but I don't consider this a hobby, and I would like to make it my biggest revenue source one day. 5, observe and consume. Working on producing some new songs and practicing for shows recently has made me feel that I've been neglecting my songwriting, so I've started reading a lot more books, and I'm trying to take some extra time to observe my surroundings on a more regular basis. Just that little bit of intention has given me a spark to keep the songwriting process top of my mind. I didn't realize that there'd be so many things to juggle as a do-it-yourself musician. It used to panic me a little bit, but I've gotten over that. By reminding myself that this is what I was instinctively drawn to as a little kid, and by doing the other 5 things as often as possible, I feel like I have no shortage of inspiration. Thank you, Ed. That's awesome. I love that. Sometimes we get inspired from art and from other artists, whether you're an artist or not. I know this well because I shot it was like a docu-series called Soul Providers, and I focused on 10 LA-based artists, and I just basically shot them, and then they answer these questions of like, what inspires you, what gets through your dark days, and all that kind of stuff. And I originally pictured it as like a docu-series, and then I tried to make it into a feature, and now I'm trying to do some parts of it into a short film. So I'll let you know when that comes out, because I'm really, really proud of this work. The whole scenario with this is that after Derek died, I didn't want to do any film. I didn't want to do anything anymore. And then about a year after he died, a little over a year after he died, I started getting this feeling like, just do this film and do it for yourself. Don't do it for any reason. Don't become a marketer in my mind and think about where it's going to end up. Just make this film for me. So I asked 10 people, and all 10 of them said yes. They didn't even know what it was really about. I said, I want to film you for this documentary I'm doing just about art and stuff like that. And they said, okay. I'm like, oh my God. So anyways, I went to their house, filmed it. And when I was done filming the 10th person, my brother died unexpectedly. And And I've gone through all these different things with it. Like on the one hand, I was like, I'm going to make this film for my brother, in his honor. So first it was supposed to be for Derek. And then I was like, well, it's for Derek and Michael, and then a few other people died in the last, a few years after that. So I was like, it's for Derek and Michael and Don and Michael B. and like, Christina and like, the list keeps growing. And it's like, there's been so many like things that I've gone through from filming that, but I keep trying to edit it. I keep going in, I keep working on it. And it really healed me. I hear the words from these subjects. I hear their words all the time when I'm walking around. It's like advice that really went into me. And sometimes I think maybe the entire purpose of that film was literally just to heal me. And I do feel like I want people to see these subjects, though. I want other people to heal from them and hear them. So I do want to release it. I'm proud of it. It looks good. It sounds good. It's good. But if I never do, it really did heal me. And, but anyways, I'll keep you posted about that. And then also with the Ag and Art Film Festival, I mean, agriculture is the food that we eat. And that is so important that that's healthy and that we still keep, going to small local farms. And then art is so important, obviously. So art, I know that art inspires. And even from the films that I've been getting from all over the world, the submissions, I love watching it because I'm like, this is somebody else's take on something. This is amazing. It inspires me so much. I absolutely love it. And this is my first film festival, and Tracy from the Valley Film Festival is kind of mentoring me. And I am so grateful that she kind of said, you can do this, because I was terrified. I was like, I can't do this. And I still am terrified, and I still think, what the heck am I doing? But watching these submissions has been very inspiring, and I'm really excited about it. Tara Cole, aka Reality TC on YouTube, wrote in, people who are excited about their art and are willing to be open about the ups and downs of their creative journey inspire me. Inspiration is contagious. Right now I'm loving the Art of Process podcast with Amy Mann and Ted Leo. Ooh, I'll have to check that out. The Art of Process podcast with Amy Mann and Ted Leo. Links to that will also be in show notes. Alex from Germany, my friend, she wrote in, hello, Lisa. I thought about inspiration a lot these days because I'm feeling so inspired at the moment. Why and where does it come from? First, I have to say the last 4 to 5 years, I wasn't working on any one of my dreams. After having major family issues, I started getting really sick. I had terrible jaw pain, felt nauseous every day. I visited different doctors. Some suggested surgery, but didn't know if it would be effective. It was a terrible time, but I feel a lot better nowadays. I'm feeling my energy is coming back, and I can look now from a different perspective, what I want to do and what I need to do with my life. A big inspiration is indeed to get surrounded by people who also are trying to pursue their dreams. People who feel that life is not just existing. Listening to podcasts, yes to yours, I love it so much. Thanks. Or watching documentaries. Why are we creative? Ooh, I'll have to find that and find the link. I think artists are always interested in these questions. I agree, Alex. I love authentic artists. Authenticity inspires me so much. Agree. For example, I saw on YouTube a studio version of a song of the band Sparks, and I was really moved. The two Mael brothers, M-A-E-L, I'm not sure what that is, it's capitalized, more than 50 years in the music business, still so genius in the songwriting, and the singer with his own way to sing, not caring about the mainstream and full of passion to make music. Such an inspiration for me. I need to get in contact to my body to stay inspired, just because I was sick and couldn't do any sports. Now I'm doing yoga again, and it helps so much to get connected to my body and to my soul. I need to move my body. If it is dancing, Pilates, or yoga, I need to listen to my body. I think our body is our friend. And as you said, nature always helps. I love forests, and I love looking at the sky. Animals keep me grounded. Feel free to use this for your podcast if it is interesting for you. I love you, Lisa. Alex. It is very interesting for me because I agree with almost every single thing you said, and I'm going to actually check out that podcast, and I'm going to also try to find the documentary you said. What is it called? Why Are We Creative? That sounds really good. Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you. An audiobook that I absolutely love, and I like the audiobook. Okay, so I don't know about the actual physical book. It's called Daily Rituals: How Artists Work by Mason Curie. I absolutely love that book. If I'm stressed out and I feel like really alone and like I'm weird and like maybe I don't fit in this world and stuff like that, I just put that audiobook on. And he basically lists different artists throughout time and what they did to stay inspired, or how they worked. Like, they got up at the crack of dawn. They had to have 2 eggs over easy and a shot of scotch, or just whatever. There's so many weird things that people did before there was too much self-awareness. Like, now I think we're all aware, and so we compare ourselves to other people. We watch people on YouTube or listen to podcasts like this, and we go, oh, I should be like that. I should get up at 6 o'clock and I should exercise, and then I should, answer all my emails before 8. Like, we don't listen to ourselves anymore. We don't just go, I feel like just doing most of my work at 2 a.m. And I don't care if that's weird. That's when I feel like doing it. And I'm going to figure out how to build my life around that weirdness, because this is what I need to do. Because to me, the most important thing is not to fit in. The most important thing is not to have a schedule that other people understand. The most important thing is to live a life that inspires you and that makes you feel alive. And so whatever that is, you can't judge yourself. We say other people judge us. Really, it comes from us. We judge ourselves, and we're the gatekeepers to ourselves. So if we let someone else's judgment go in and stop us from doing what we need to do for ourselves, we're the reason why that happened. It's not the other person that judged us. Who cares? People are going to judge all kinds of things. We cannot judge ourselves that way. We have to be accepting and be like, you know what? If I want to, this is what I want to do and this is how it works for me, then this is what I need to do. And it's going to be there, that feeling of like, oh my God, people are going to think I'm weird, or I think it's weird, or whatever. That's okay, but don't let it rule you. Just let it be there, let it have a voice, but don't let it stop you from creating and feeling good about it, whatever that is. Like, for me, it's very late at night, Monday night. The sensible thing to do would be, record your podcast during the day. It doesn't work like that for me. Number one, I like to do things at the last minute. It feels good to me. I get an adrenaline rush. It makes me focus better. Number two, I really wanted people's input on this show, so I was waiting for some people to submit to me their inspiration. And from that sort of shaped how I wanted to structure this show. So whatever, there's a lot of reasons. At night, I feel more in touch with my spirit. I feel more in touch with clarity. And that's how it works. So yeah, tomorrow I'm going to be tired. Whoop-de-doo. One day I'm tired, It's fine. It's better than not, being rested every day, but not feeling very alive. Like, what's the point? Also, another book, as I've mentioned many times, is The Alchemist. I love the story structure, and I always think about where the shepherd boy is at different times, and like how, whether, like when he's in the glass shop, if you've read the book, like, am I in the glass shop right now polishing glass, or am I, where am I at right now? I love that. And then it sort of swings back around to The Writer's Journey by Chris Vogler, which I talk about all the time. The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell, which is the inspiration for this podcast art, and also this podcast in general, just everything. And those really inspire me, that art, looking at life, looking at storytelling throughout time, that very, 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 very much inspires me. Another thing too, since losing Derek and Michael and just the trauma of a lot of things at that time, has been sound healing. That's been a new thing that I found. There's a guy named Renee Jenkins, and he does sound healing, and I go to him in person, and he's just absolutely amazing. I'm going to include a link to his website if you're interested in a very, very amazing sound healer. He has some CDs that I bought, and I listen to that, and it just brings me, it just heals me. It heals me in a way that other things can't. Obviously, listening to him in person is better because you get the vibration of the instruments, but it also is still effective listening to it, which is, on my phone. But I really love, like, the whole, singing bowls, sound bath, the whole thing. And I really like ASMR. And I know ASMR has gotten a bad rap because some people are just so weird with it. Of course, everybody always has to ruin everything. But there's some very good ASMR artists. And I'll include the link of like a couple of my favorite videos that really, really heal me. And when I was in the most traumatized and the most messed up, and when I'm having massive anxiety, it's literally sometimes the only thing that helps me. And because it helps me, that inspires me to be a better person and to relax. Deepak Chopra has a CD that's available on iTunes called A Gift of Love, which is a bunch of famous people like Madonna, Demi Moore, Rosa Parks, Goldie Hawn, and they're all reading Rumi poems to music. And when I'm feeling like shallow and uninspired and like just kind of like life is just violence and people hating each other, I put that on. And I love Rumi anyways, his poetry. But then with the music and the way that it's done, it's really beautifully done. And I highly recommend that. And I'll put a link for that also in the show notes. But it's called A Gift of Love. So make sure you just check it out. You can preview songs, on iTunes. So go there, just preview it. And if it resonates with you, I recommend you get it. In closing, I would just like to say thank you to all those who called in, quote unquote, sent me voice messages. And for those who just sent me emails and other messages, your words are inspiring people that my words alone cannot do. We're all lighthouses for each other. When we shine our light, we light the way for another. Never think that your voice, your experience, your you-ness is not important. It is vital to all life. You were born for a reason. You're here for a reason. I do not know that reason, but there is a reason. You're very, very important. And all the experiences you went through are very important as well. And the more we share our journey and we share our pain and we share what we're doing and what works, we're helping so many more people out there. And that brings that back to the community. It really is important. We need each other. And even if you want to be alone 99.9% of the time, that's okay. But don't forget that we do need each other. And that's okay. It's okay to need each other. And I really, really appreciate everybody that contributed and the people that have sent me messages in the past, just saying what they feel about the podcast or about a particular show. It means so much to hear from you because it's sort of like, you're just like the Horton Hears a Who, like I talked about last week. But it feels like sometimes you're just talking into a microphone. Well, I am. I'm talking to a microphone in the dark. I am. And you're not sure. And you're like, I have a feeling that this is important. I have a feeling this is going to help someone. And then when someone comes back with, yes, this is helpful. Yes, this worked. Yes, blah, 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 blah. Then you're like, sort of completes the circuit. You're like, oh, okay, good. I know what I'm doing. Okay, so this show has opened me up to like really loving including your voices in the show. So if you'd like to send me a voice message or a written message, I will include you in a future show because I'm going to have that be a part of every show. Anytime that I hear from someone and it fits the format or whatever, I would love to hear from you. So please send messages. You can email me at ihavedreamsdammit@gmail.com, or you can send a message to the I Have Dreams Dammit Instagram or Facebook page, or send a message from the ihavedreamsdammit.com website. There's a contact tab on the top. You can send me a message there. I read everything. I love to hear from you. Your messages keep me going. They inspire me. Inform me of which shows are really resonating with people. So, I try to write to people too and go, this is why I love you, because I want to make sure they know, just in case nobody's ever actually said the specific thing that I felt. And there's a lot of people that felt it, but nobody said it. I always go, I'm going to be the one that writes that person. So if you're that kind of person too, I welcome you into my world. So thank you so much. And remember to keep your toolbox full of things that inspire you. Be aware of what inspires you and be sure to include those things into your life as much as possible. And when you're feeling down and disconnected, just remember there's so much out there. There's so many things you can connect with. Helping others, getting your mind off of yourself, having a sense of community, connecting with other people, being out in nature, exercising, moving, getting fresh air and sunshine, listening to music. I didn't even talk about that, but that instantly changes my mood. Instantly. As soon as if I need to be in a better mood and I just put some music on, and I love having Apple Music subscription because I can look up like any song. I can look up 70s dance music and boom, there it all is. And it's so immediate for me. Music is immediate. I immediately feel differently when I hear a certain song. So put on a song that makes you feel a certain way. Do what you have to do. You're in control of how you feel, and you're in control of your inspiration and managing yourself. And don't get too down. Don't let yourself get too... I'm not talking about depth, and I'm not talking about pain. I'm not talking about experiencing darker emotions. That's important. I do think that's important. But I'm saying in general, just try to remember that we're here for a reason. And also, happiness and joy are really important. Inspiration is really important. And it's okay to be happy, and it's okay to be inspired and enjoy life. Everything doesn't have to be this big, deep experience, you know? Sometimes life can just be fun and light. We are more alike than we are different. We are all connected. And sometimes I think, like, you know, when I'm the most uninspired is when I feel cut off, when I feel like I'm alone and that what I do doesn't really matter. And when I'm the most excited about life and the most inspired, it's because I can feel like this electric energy that I'm connected to. And whether that's through nature, animals, trees, people from the other side of the world. You know, sometimes the people in our immediate environment, and I touched on this last week, but the people in our immediate environment don't totally get our greatness. They don't, you know, listen to our podcast, or they don't maybe watch our YouTube videos, or maybe they don't buy our cookbooks that we have out or whatever. But sometimes someone from the other side of the world is so excited about who you are, and they have needed you to be the way you are. And so now with the internet and everything else, it's like the best possible time to put your dream out there, because you're going to instantly connect with the world. And if you keep at it, #keep going, if you keep at it, you will eventually connect with your people. You will. Just keep going and you will. And we're all connected, and we're very similar. And I love that. And I love getting to know all of you. I love hearing from you. And I really hope that you love yourself, and that you keep yourself inspired, and that you have your own back, that you don't let the downside of life pull you away from the great things that you're meant to do while you're here. Because we don't know why we're here, and we don't know how long we're going to be here. But while we're here, let's make it count, and let's really live. Let's do what is in our hearts. Let's do that, and let's put that out into the world. You never know what kind of effect it's going to have on others. Hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for your support. It means so much to me, inspires me so much. This podcast keeps me on track. I love it. I love talking to you, and I love trying to figure out these weird metaphors. Maybe we should just pretend like the whole bladder metaphor didn't happen, but, you know, maybe it spoke to someone. I don't know. Okay, so I'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, and keep on keeping on. Bye-bye.